Whoa, 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 whoa. Maybe, baby, I'll have you. Maybe, baby, you'll be true. Maybe, baby, I'll have you for me. It's funny, honey, you don't care. You never listen to my prayer. Maybe, baby, you'll love me someday. Well, you are the one that makes me glad, and the one that makes me sad. When someday you want me, well, I'll be there, wait and see. Woo! Maybe, baby, I'll have you. Maybe, baby, you'll be true. Maybe, baby, I'll have you for me. Whoa, 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 whoa. Well, you are the one that makes me glad, and the one that makes me sad. And someday you want me, well, I'll be there, wait and see. Maybe, baby, I'll have you. Maybe, baby, you'll be true. Maybe, baby, I'll have you for me. Maybe, baby, I'll have you for me. Woo! Girl, wasn't that awesome? Oh my goodness gracious. Woo! We're rocking through, girl. Hang in there with us. Hey, tubies. I hope I didn't scare you off. Well, this is Lord Iceon. I'm going to use my title today. Welcome to Friday. Happy Friday to all of you. I just want to do something shocking and fun to get your attention this morning. I hope you enjoyed that. Anyways, as I said, I hope I haven't scared y'all off. I am so glad you're here. Well, you know it's Friday and I'm just feeling the spirit today. And I decided to wear my mystical veil. I have a whole collection of veils, which maybe I'll show you here before we go. But today I'm wearing this veil. And I know some of you say, well, wait a second, Bob. I thought only women wear veils. Why are you wearing a veil? Men don't wear veils. Well, they do wear veils. And in the Wiccan tradition, in Wicca, there are many people now starting to wear veils as a sign of their consecration to the goddess. Now, I've done other previous videos about veiling, but I've had so many new people, and they may not know where those videos are or whatever, but I thought we'd revisit this topic because, you know, there's always new information coming out. So, first of all, this is my veil, and as you can see, it's done in a beautiful deep purple fabric, and it's got beautiful gold trim on it here. Okay, can you see? Actually, let me take it off just for a minute, because I know a lot of you are going to ask questions about it. So here is the gold trim on my veil. Isn't that beautiful? Actually, I think I was wearing it. Well, actually, I think the gold goes on both sides, so I guess it doesn't matter. But yeah, this is my scarf, my head veil that I like to wear when I'm doing sacred rituals at the altar, whether at the altar of my goddess Isis or at any of my other altars. Now, as many of you know, I had a spiritual order called the Order of the Purple Cord. And in our order, the color purple is very sacred. So as High Priest of the Order, whenever we do official order gathering, I also like to wear the purple veil as a sign of our order, because purple is, as I said, one of the main colors of our order. It represents us. So anyways, so for you guys out there watching, you know, you've said, gee, these look kind of cool, these veils. Can guys wear these? Absolutely, yes. Now, there is a whole multi-thousand-year history of veil wearing by men and women, of course. But we're all familiar with women wearing veils now because we see it in our modern culture. A lot of women wear headscarves, and a lot of particularly the Muslim women wear the hijab, which is a form of veil. But what a lot of people don't know is that there was a time in which men wore veils. You say, what? Well, if you go way back to the Roman times, it was very common for men to wear veils, just as literally exactly like I'm wearing, because they would go to the temple to pray. And you generally did not enter a temple of the gods in ancient Rome without a head covering. It was a sign of reverence. It was like, I'm putting on beautiful fabrics and silk and acknowledging the power that I'm entering into. So it was a form of reverence, and all the temple priests wore veils. And so because I worship the goddess Isis in her Greco-Roman form, I like to wear veils. Veils were worn also way back in the original worship of Isis in ancient Egypt as well. But more close to our modern time, particularly in the Roman culture, men wore veils. Isn't that interesting? Now, to give you some more evidence and encouragement in taking up the veil, there's a wonderful article in the Witch's Almanac from spring 2014-2015 edition. So there's a great article, and let me show it to you here. It's called Taking Up the Veil. Isn't that cool? So I thought I'd read just a little bit of this to you. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's really long, but let's listen to what this article has. This was written by Dickie Joe Mullen. And it says, within the eclectic world of modern witchcraft, veiling, a new movement which has its roots in the earliest mystical practices, is drawing numerous adherents. Veiling, the covering of the hair in order to deepen one's spirituality, was the topic of a program offered recently at the Florida Pagan Gathering amongst the largest Wiccan conferences. Witches Who Veil offered an interesting presentation to a standing room only crowd. For many contemporary witches, and here's the part I want you to hear, for many contemporary witches, male as well as female, veils aren't only ritual dress, but are worn in everyday life. Now, I want to just pause there for a second because, as many of you know, I love to wear the veil. I wear it when I do rituals, but I even nowadays wear it when I go in public. And, people don't seem to be bothered. And as I'm the head of the Order of the Purple Cord, a spiritual Wiccan order, I feel that it's my job to represent the faith of Wicca, the religion of Wicca. Now, not everybody can do this. Fortunately, I'm in a position in my life where I can be a public advocate for Wicca. And so I wear my veil, and then you notice it's a purple veil because purple is the sacred color of our order, okay? So, I think it's interesting that they're saying that men as well as women, males and females, are now starting to take up the veil. Isn't that interesting? So, let's go on and read a little more. It says, veiling probably began for practical reasons over 2,000 years ago. Nomadic tribes adopted the practice for protection against the sun and dust. Now that makes sense, like that people still wear the veil like in the desert countries. Like think of Saudi Arabia, a lot of men and women wear veils there because they live in a desert climate. That makes sense, okay? And if you think back to Star Wars, do you remember there's scenes in the first original Star Wars from 1977 where Ben Kenobi and the character of Luke Skywalker both wear veils similar to this when they're in the desert. So there you go, okay? Those are some men wearing veils as well, okay? As communities developed, ladies kept the veil as a symbol of hearth and home. Their veils became like little houses, a kind of portable personal temple perched on the head. This practice offered freedom of movement and showed status while simultaneously protecting the wearer's identity. Followers of the classical Greek and Roman cults of Vesta and Dionysus would wear veils to shield the third eye, maintaining purity. Isn't that interesting? Well, you see, so it says that women started wearing the veil and it became fashionable, and it was a sign of, their commitment to their home and family. But it's interesting, it said the veils also showed status. And, this is true because, like, for example, the purple veil that I'm wearing, back in the Roman times, I would literally have to have a grant from the government to wear purple because it was so valuable, and only high priests and high royalty could wear it. So, like if I walk down the street in a Roman time draped in a veil and one that's got gold on it as well, well, that meant that's like super high prestige. So, yes, in the ancient times, the type of veil, the materials, the colors, the fabric, the embroidery work, those were all signs that connoted wealth or influence or power. Now, what's also interesting here is that they said that followers of the classical Greek and Roman cults of Vesta and Dionysus would wear veils to shield the third eye, maintaining purity. And so, as I told you, men in the ancient Roman cults would wear veils when they'd go in the temple. Now, I suspect that the followers of Dionysus and Isis or Vesta would wear it lower, in a sense like this, and it would shield the third eye. So they would wear it a little more down and maybe be a little closed, kind of reverential like that. I'm a little more liberal, so I wear my veil a little higher. Plus, it's hard to walk and see unless I'm looking down at the ground. But you see, so isn't that interesting? And as you know, I worship the goddess Isis in her Greco-Roman form. Now, what's also interesting is the goddess Vesta. Her followers were known to wear veils, particularly her priestesses. But I wanted to show you a statue here that I have of the goddess Vesta. This is the ancient Roman goddess Vesta, and you'll see she's holding a flame in her hand. She's the goddess of the hearth flame and the goddess of Rome, the keeper of the flame that keeps light in Rome, protects the empire. But notice her long veil here. Can you see this going down? Isn't that just beautiful? So this is an example of a Roman veil, very long. And it's worn, as you notice, just draped over the head and going down on each shoulder. That's how I also like to wear the veil. Now, some people wear their veils wrapped up around them. Some wear them wrapped up in a turban. A turban is a form of veil. It's just a rolled veil. But I wear the traditional kind of Roman veil. So I want to bring this to you today because a lot of you are saying, well, say, Bob, why do you wear the veil? What's that about? It is a way to affirm your spiritual life. I think that so many Wiccans live in parts of the country where they're oppressed, whether it's the Bible Belt or other regions of the world. And I think those of us in the position to represent Wicca should make a statement. So when I go in public wearing the veil, sometimes people will say, well, what is that thing on your head? Are you Muslim? Sometimes I get that. Or sometimes I'll run into Hindu people and they think I'm Hindu because the Hindus wear the veil as well. And I'll say, no, I'm a Wiccan. Now, a lot of times I'll wear my crescent moon. I'll paint that on my brow. And that's a sign of the Wicca as well, wearing the crescent moon. We'll probably do another video on that. I've done other videos, but as I said, we have a lot of new people, so we'll catch them up on all this. But yes, so because of my role in life and my position, I'm able to be kind of out in front. I don't have to worry about getting fired from a job. And so I take a stand for Wicca. And so for all of you who lived in regions where you feel you have to hide your religion because of pressure from others, you feel oppressed in some way, know that those of us who are taking up the veil, we stand united with you. So I'm going to show you guys some of my veil collection, but before we do that, I found another passage in this article from Witch's Almanac that I want to read. And this is fascinating. And it says, within some tribal African spiritual traditions, a cloth head wrap, a descendant of the veil, may be worn to symbolize a crown. This is a reminder that all who wear it are royalty. The cloth can be unwound during ritual dances to symbolize leaving the mundane world behind. Now, listen to this. It says, veils also appear in the northern mystery circles, sometimes taken up by those who have pledged to follow Odin or Loki. Usually, Nordic veils are red. Red symbolizes the life's blood. It is a color of luck and high magic. So you see, many cultures, the ancient African cultures as well as the European pagan cultures, have the sacred tradition of the sacred veil, the head covering. So if you're interested in wearing the veil, I say do it, okay? Do it because you love it. So let's take a look at some of my veils. Now, as I've said, I love to wear purple veils, so most all of my veils are purple in color. You don't have to wear purple. You can wear any type of veil you want, and depending on which deities you worship, you may find that your god or goddess has a certain color that is unique to them. So, for example, if you worship the green man, you might want to wear green veils. If you worship a goddess of the moon, maybe you'll wear silver veils. So try to keep in mind that there are many different colors and different styles. You can wear your veil down, you can wear it wrapped. But anyways, I wanted to show you some of my veils. Now you're going to say, well, Bob, where do we buy veils? Well, I bought all of mine online through eBay or Amazon. I'm not being endorsed by those sites, but what you want to look for, and this is how I would look for it, look for a shawl, cashmere or pashmina, what do you call it? Let me give you the name. Pashmina. If you go online, let me give you the word here. Can you see that? Pashmina. Pashmina is a silk and wool cashmere blend. It's amazingly not that expensive. All of these I bought from sellers in the United States, so I didn't have to go overseas to get them. But pashmina is a wonderful type of fabric because it's very soft and yet very thin, very light, yet amazingly warm. Now, as you see, my current veil is a dark purple. I also have a lighter purple, and you can see the contrast. So this is like a reddish purple. But if you look up pashmina scarves, or look up pashmina, oops, I got a snare in this. This is the thing you got to be careful of. The fabric will snare sometimes, and this one got snared. But usually you can straighten this. Look, we just got the snare out pretty much. But this is a beautiful kind of purple, a lighter purple, like a Roman sort of Tyrian purple. Very light veil, okay? So this is one of my other veils. Hold on just a second. I'm going to organize these here. Now, there's also a darker, here's another one of mine, which is a deep dark purple, similar to the one I'm wearing, though it's a little darker. This is like a little darker purple, as you can see. See if you can see the contrast here. You see how this one's just a little darker. And this one is plain. It doesn't have the gold edging like this veil. But this is a beautiful, deep, rich, dark purple. And so this is another option. For those of you in the order of the purple cord, you're encouraged to wear purple. You don't have to, but it is the color of our order. And I know somebody's going to say, well, Bob, I thought I had to be a high priest or a high priestess to wear the veil. No, no, no. Anybody who's a Wiccan, and especially in our order, is invited and encouraged to wear the veil. So you don't have to be the high priest or high priestess of an order to wear the veil. Now there's my deep dark purple. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, so there's another one for you. Now you can also have very elaborate patterns. So for example, here's another one of my veils. This is done with an amazing paisley pattern. Let me bring that closer. This is also a deep, rich, dark purple, but it's got woven paisleys in it. And let me just see if I can open this up and get a fuller picture of it. Okay, so there you go. Check that out, huh? Isn't that beautiful? Now you could even do kind of what I call dual veiling if you wanted to wear a veil of one color underneath and then a veil of another color over top. I'll show you that in just a minute here, but there you go. What do you think of that, huh? Beautiful. And if you want to get really fancy, here's one of my most elaborate veils. This one is done in a very bold paisley, a gold paisley, also on a purple background. But this is a very elegant and exotic veil. Now, I got to tell you, with these shawls, some of them can get very expensive. So, definitely don't go in bankruptcy to veil. The gods don't require you to spend thousands of dollars. But isn't that beautiful? How do you like that, huh? What do you think? Can you guys see that? All right. So there you go. There are some ideas of types of veils. So let's look at the idea of dual veiling. Let's try that out. Now, if you want to take your veiling to a little more even elaborate level, you might want to try this idea. So for example, you could wear, for example, like I'm wearing a lighter purple. This is my Roman purple. Okay, and as I said, I just drape it over my head, okay, and down my shoulders. You might have to take some time and, adjust your veil. But then over top of that, you could put a secondary color. So we have this dark purple, and this would be a kind of cool because you could also add this on top of your current veil. And you'd have kind of a dual color scheme going. And I think that looks very dramatic. And as you walk, your veil flows, and you have different colors. So this is another way you could wear veils to create a dramatic effect. You could wear different colors. Now I'm wearing purple, but you could wear any color. You could have, like, for example, an inner veil of white and a golden outer veil, or a silver and gold lame veils. Silver lame lining with a gold lame, or reverse it. You could have green and blue. Again, think about the deities that you work with. Think about, what it is that you want to communicate, the reverence that you want to, bring to your spiritual life and your spiritual works. So there you go. There's some ways to think about veiling. Well, guys, I am so glad that you were here today. I hope this has brought you some insights and been fun for you. And so you guys out there, you know that we too can now take up the veil. And it's part of our ancient spiritual tradition. So I invite all of you, explore these concepts. Play with them. Maybe right now you don't want to go in public wearing a veil. That's okay, but you can do it in your home. When you go to your altar, you can make it a ritual. You sit down every day, you put on your veil, you light your candles, and you have your spiritual reflection time. You see? So you can wear it even in your home if you don't want to wear it outside. But for some of us, we feel called to kind of make that statement publicly, to affirm our faith. It's interesting because so many other religions, openly, they're very open about their faith, In fact, I was up at CVS the other day, and there was a Christian lady out there handing out flyers preaching about God. And I thought, that's really nice. And I actually stopped and talked to her. And she said, "Do you know the Lord?" I said, "Oh, yes, ma'am, I do." I didn't want to get into particulars defining the Lord, but I said yes. And she said, "Well, you need to take a pamphlet about God." And I said, "Thank you." And she gave me a pamphlet. And she was so sweet, And I thought to myself, even though I may not agree with all her religious teachings, I admired her for standing. She wanted to stand for what was important in her life. She believed in God and Jesus, and she wanted the world to know. She was wearing a big cross necklace, and she was very bold in her faith. And I actually like that. I admire that. As I said, you don't have to agree with other religions' viewpoints necessarily, but we can respect them in the sense that they're standing to try to make the world a better place. They're trying to bring the light of spirit. And so, I would say all religions have their good and have their purpose. So, you know what? I thought, more power to you, girl. Stand on the corner and preach. You're doing something that's bringing joy to yourself. You're honoring the divine, and you're helping people who may need that religion that you represent. So anyways, I think as a Wiccan, I want to stand and represent Wicca. So that's why I wear the veil. And yeah, sometimes I get weird looks in public and people ask questions, but usually they're usually more curious than hostile. So anyways, that's me. You don't have to do it, but at least in your home, maybe you'll want to try wearing the veil. So you guys out there, remember, men wore veils too, and the most important men, especially in ancient Rome, they definitely wore veils. So it's not just a woman thing. Guys can wear it too. But for you ladies out there, I'm curious if any of you ever wear the veil, and or any guys. I just want to hear, do you guys ever wear the veil? Have you ever heard of this? Tell me in the box below your experience with veils. Guys, listen, thank you for being here. By the way, make sure to check out below this video my merchandise store. We've got some new shirts there, some art shirts. I will have those to show you soon, but right now I've got this one. But this is the Psychic Bob shirt, and that's me looking into my crystal ball. So if you love Psychic Bob, want to support Spirit Channel, help me out. Shop at my merch store, okay? Now, if you're not up to buying a t-shirt, remember I'm a published author. And if you go to my website, PsychicBob.com, there are a number of books there as well for sale. Actually, I don't have them here, but that's okay. Go to PsychicBob.com. That link will be below. And I wanted to give a big shout out to all of you who've been calling for private readings and compact voice readings. I love to hear from you. If you want to get on my schedule for a private session with me, give me a call, 703-825-3929. I look forward to it. You guys rock. Well, listen, if you're still here, you're brave to listen to my singing and still be here. Thank you for your support. I love you guys. We'll be back here tomorrow for Saturday, which is our Saturday seance. Don't miss it. I love you guys. We'll see you then. Until then, may all of you always blessed be. Now take up the veil.